official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Hello and welcome to the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. It's round 3 and we're here at Red Lodge on Sunday for a second day of racing. I'm Trystan Finocchiaro and joining me today is Casey O'Gorman. Of course, FAB-Racing is the championship where all riders start off their racing careers on the minibikes, including Casey. Many names have come through the field here and we're going to have plenty of action today. We're going to be seeing all those classes where all the riders start off their careers, as well as the adult classes as well. We'll have the GP70 category, which is the premier class here at FAB-Racing. There's a championship battle hotting up in that one, as well as the AC40 Rookies, where Casey, your brother, will be competing in that one. So we'll get to that in a little bit as well. But Casey, this is a championship where you started out your racing career. It's a championship where lots of riders start out their racing career. Ollie starting out in the Rookies, did you do the same?
Yeah, I did one round in the Rookies and then I moved up to their AC40 Pros and then just carried on moving up.
How long ago was that?
2014, I think.
And now you've moved up, you've gone through it all, you've won most of the championships you've raced in pretty much. You've been out of European Talent Cup, you've been out to British Talent Cup, and now you're back. So what brings you back?
I was coming to support my brother and helping him to improve.
What advice have you been giving him?
He needs to carry more. I think he can carry more corner speed. Probably let the brake off a bit more as well.
Have you ever been on track with him? Do you get to do any sort of rider tuition with him?
Yeah, sometimes I go on my supermoto and I go slowly in front of him for him to follow.
And once you moved up and out of FAB-Racing, you moved on to you've done some international racing. You've been at the British Talent Cup. Just talk us through once all these riders they move out of the championship. What is there for them to do next?
I went to Cuna de Campeones in Spain and did Primoto 4. And I did a year on that and started winning towards the end and then moved to British Talent Cup and European Talent Cup.
And what's it been like riding in those categories? How as FAB, did you feel prepared coming up from FAB, or was there a lot to learn?
There was a lot to learn on the bigger bikes, but Spain they had a lot of bikes that they go up like from Moto 5 to Moto 4 to the ETC bikes.
Yeah, so it's quite an easy progression route, you'd say, to come through from FAB up into those categories.
Yeah.
And these bikes, they've been seen for a long time. The likes of the GP50s, the GP70s. You rode them yourself, and you would have watched the likes of the riders above you riding them in those classes as well. What was it like coming through those ranks and coming through and riding the bikes that Scott Redding and Danny Kent have ridden in the past?
I remember the Metro kits were fun to ride, and it was probably my best year.
So British Talent Cup this year, that's your main focus, as well as European Talent Cup, doing a bit of both. It's been going well so far, but not quite so well at Knockhill.
No, in FP2, someone ran into the back of me, and then I was heading straight towards the barrier, so I had to jump off the bike. Yeah.
So what injuries have you sustained from that?
I fractured my arm and C7 in my neck, but it's all right.
So I mean, before that, you were flying up the sharp end. How was that going? Just talk us through your season before that point.
It was going really good. I was leading the championship on the first 2 races, and then I was hoping to do it again, but I didn't get the chance to.
Well, of course, we've seen you at the sharp end of British Talent Cup also last year as well, and as well over in the European Talent Cup. When are you thinking you're going to be back? Because obviously it's mid-season. We've missed out on Knockhill. There's a few British Superbike rounds around the corner. So what's next for you?
Hopefully either Thruxton or Donington, but probably Donington.
So that's so next up is Brands Hatch, and then it'll be Thruxton after that. So it'll be about round 4 or 5-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's not ideal for you for the British Talent Cup, but it's brilliant to see you out there, and brilliant to see you up the front, up the sharp end of of these championships, and it's brilliant to watch all these riders that come through the field here at FAB-Racing. They go on to do big things in the likes of British Talent Cup, European Talent Cup, and beyond. And what's your ambitions beyond British Talent Cup? Because obviously you've got to be thinking about the next step. What comes next?
Junior World Championships, and then hopefully MotoGP.
So what's it take to get into Junior World Championships? Because it's quite a competitive field.
Yeah, it's very competitive out there. So many fast riders.
And for those that don't know, Junior World Championship is essentially the championship that runs over in Spain. Moto3 machines, similar to exactly the same to the Moto3 machines that you'll see in the MotoGP paddock, but it's sort of a Spanish championship that's deemed as a Junior World, and it's the same paddock that you're currently riding in the European Talent Cup as well. Yeah,
it's like the paddock below MotoGP.
So there's quite a direct route into Moto3 from there.
Yeah, quite a few of the winners from Junior World go into World Moto3.
Does that inspire you when you see these riders going up and through? Do you think that could be you?
Yeah.
Well, brilliant. And we've seen you at FAB-Racing as well. You've moved on. You've done big things. You've come here. You've won what you needed to win, and you've gone out to British Talent Cup, European Talent Cup, like we've said, with ambitions to go even further to the likes of Junior World, Moto3, and now you come back here to FAB-Racing. We've seen you riding in a few categories as well.
Yeah, sometimes I ride from Extreme 200s and sometimes GP70 for some training between rounds.
So what's the benefit of riding a bike like let's say Extreme 200? So you'll be on, is that a KTM you're running?
Yeah, I can do a lot of bike control on it. Like I can slide into corners and then practice saving the front if I need to do that in a race.
And does that help you when you're out and racing? Have you felt the benefit from that?
Yeah, I've got a lot more bike control since I was out during lockdown. Well, not lockdown, but after it, the build up to the season, I was out nearly every day, and it improved my riding a lot.
It's not an easy category to come in and race against either. There's a lot of strong riders. We've seen riders like Charlie Nesbitt, Brad Ray, all sorts of names having a go in classes like Extreme 200s, pit bike 140s. So what's it like riding against those guys? Are they easy to beat? Are you having it a little bit tough?
It's fun, but yeah, but I haven't rode in it for quite a long time now.
We've seen a lot of riders when they do go in it, they try and start from the back of the grid. I don't know if you've tried it yourself, but we've seen the likes of Charlie Nesbitt do it. He starts from the back and then uses it as training to work his way through the field and train that way. Have you ever had a go at doing something like that?
Yeah, I did it in GP70s at Lid last year, and it was probably really fun.
How did it go?
Second, and then won the other three, I think.
Well, that's pretty impressive from the back of the grid. But of course, you've already won the GP70 championship a few years ago now, and those riders you're racing against, they've all sort of moved up with you. So it's been you're still riding against them now in British Talent Cup.
Yeah, it's like I've been riding against the same people through all the classes.
And whilst in British Talent Cup as well, you've had some help from some big names. You've getting a bit of coaching from Shaky Byrne.
Yeah, he's helping me a lot. Don't think without him I wouldn't be racing this season, so it's been really good to have him helping.
So what sort of things is he helping out with? He's giving you advice and helping out with the racing side of things?
Yeah, he's helping out with sponsorship, getting sponsors and racecraft and stuff like that.
Well, that's brilliant to see a rider like Shane Byrne that we all watched growing up. We all watched out over to MotoGP World Superbike and of course British Superbike, winning multiple times. And so what's it like dealing with someone like that? Is it a bit of a shell shock at the beginning, or did you just get used to it?
I was really happy in the beginning, but yeah, it's weird walking around the paddock with him. You get loads of people coming up with him asking for pictures.
Well, that'll be you one day. They'll be coming and asking for pictures with Casey O'Gorman.
Hopefully, yeah.
So obviously with Shaky, he's been helping out quite a bit, and he's been doing the little bits like helping out with you, like you say, with the sponsorship and with the thing, and that's brilliant to see. It's brilliant to see him coming in and doing these things and helping out with you. Do you think is it helping you out on track? Is his advice obviously it would be useful, but have you felt the benefit?
Yeah, Alton, I was sitting behind, and then I pulled out a gap on the last 2 laps in race 1, and then race 2 I had a really big gap, but last year I would have kept pushing and maybe crashed, but this year I was able to back off, but I did back off too much, but yeah.
So obviously the next step for you is to get back out on a bike. It's to try and have a go at somewhere like Thruxton or Donington, like you said, a bit further on in the British Superbike calendar. Do you think there's room for you to still be able to challenge for the championship?
Yeah, if I can ride like I rode at Alton, yeah, I could be able to do it.
What's that going to take? Because we've seen over in the British Talent Cup, Evan Belford is very, very strong back at Knockhill. He won both races. So what's it going to take to make sure that you're scoring more points than a rider as good as Evan?
Well, I'll probably need to win every race, which will be tough, but I think I can do it.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a tall order to win every single race after coming on, and I believe we've got the highlights from Knockhill, so we can see just what happened whilst you were gone at race 1 of the weekend back at Knockhill. And it was a good start from Evan Belford, who did go on to win the race eventually. You can see Lucas Brown in there as well. He was, of course, another MKGP70 champion from last year, actually, in 2020. There was a big crash for Ryan Hitchcock as he went down, taking another rider following, and that caused a load of chaos in that one. And there was a big crash from Lucas Brown, the number 29, who we were just talking about, 2020 MKGP70 champion. Harrison Crosby was making moves as the race was going on. Very close moves from the number 15 of Harrison Crosby, a rider we see in the MKGP 70s last year, and a rider we see quite a bit in the FAB-Racing paddock. A big moment there from the number 2 as he goes grass tracking, just manages to keep it on 2 wheels, but then unfortunately ends up on the grass in the gravel. Crashes galore in race 1 at Knockhill. All these riders just struggling to find the grip as Sullivan Mounsey goes down. Another move being made by the number 15 Harrison Crosby as he was battling it through, but it was Evan Belford that took the race 1 win at Knockhill, and he was victorious. Coming home in second place was Johnny Garnes and Harrison Crosby in third. So did you watch that from the sidelines?
No, I was in hospital, but I did watch. I did listen to the commentary.
What was it like watching it or hearing it back?
Yeah, it was very boring just lying in the hospital bed watching it.
You'd rather be out on track, obviously. Yeah, well, I think we have race 2 as well to be showing. So that was another exciting one, was Evan Belford getting the whole shot again down into turn 1. Johnny Garnes, Evan Belford's teammate, looking really strong as he tried to go around the outside at turn 1. Bold move to try and be made from the number 57. He has a little look up the inside and makes it stick. So Evan Belford was flying at the front of that one. Both bikes looking very, very similar. The number 24 was making moves as well on the number 15, Harrison Crosby. Those two were swapping paintwork as the race went on, and some brilliant moves being made all throughout the race for race 2 for Knockhill for the British Talent Cup. Harrison Crosby looking menacing this weekend but until he went down at the far end of the circuit. So the 15 Harrison Crosby didn't pick up any points in the second race, but these guys battling it out for second, as Evan Belford it was that went on to take 2 wins from 2 at Knockhill. 100% win rate for him up in Scotland. Probably not what you would have wanted, Casey, considering he's going to be your championship rival.
Yeah, well, it would have been better if I was there and able to score some points.
Yeah, well, of course, but it's going to be a tall mountain to climb. Hopefully we can see you back on a bike as soon as possible. Before you do that, what's going to be the process? Are you going to have to be getting on a mini bike before you get out, maybe your KTM, maybe here at FAB-Racing?
Yeah, maybe, and a lot of physio and a lot of mini bike practice, yeah.
So will we expect to see you racing here?
Yeah.
So it's something for us to look forward to in the Extreme 200s. Casey O'Gorman might be making an appearance later on in the year, so that's all the more reason to tune back into FAB-Racing Live and Motorsport Radio. Also, of course, it can be found on FAB-Racing's Facebook, YouTube, and also on Motorsport Radio. And Casey, we're here for your brother this weekend, Ollie O'Gorman, racing in the AC40 Rookies. It's not too long till we get to see him out on circuit. Do you think the nerves are going to be setting in a little bit for Ollie now?
Maybe, but he just has so much fun riding. He does care about positions. Like he would if he was going for a win, he would be really happy. But he really enjoys it and he has a lot of fun.
How was it going for him yesterday?
Well, he started 12th, got up to 7th, then crashed and got back up and finished 10th.
So resilience for sure.
Yeah, he got up before any marshal could get to him, so it was good.
So he's determined for sure, and that's exactly what we want to see. And hopefully, if he can keep it on two wheels in the AC40 Rookies race that will be coming up, we're going to see some good action from him.
Yeah.
Whereabouts do you think he's going to be aiming for?
Top 5, because he was in 7th yesterday, so he should be aiming higher now.
Should be aiming top 5. Well, it's good to have you by your side, because of course you've been through and done it, and you can give him that advice he needs and tell him where he needs to be aiming and how high he needs to be aiming. So it's brilliant, and it's brilliant to see you helping him out.
Yeah, I've been helping him out quite a bit.
That's brilliant to see. Of course, I mean the AC40 Rookies class, a class for riders in their first season of racing or at the very beginning of their racing careers. They all run on the same engines, which keeps it fair, and it's good to see, because you just see who the best riders are. Yeah,
it's very fair, and then you can progress through to the bigger classes in FAB.
Yeah, and it's the perfect stepping stone, because we've seen a lot of the riders, they come up through the AC40 Rookies up into the AC40 Pros, and that stepping stone, that ladder is there. And the AC40 Rookies class isn't a class that's always been here at FAB-Racing. You used to just be chucked straight into the deep end with into the AC40 Pros and the likes of the which I think was called the 4.2s back in the day. When you joined FAB-Racing, was the AC40 Rookies already a thing? Yeah,
I did one practice session in the Rookies, and then I got moved up to the Pros because they said I was too fast.
So you were too quick straight away and already had to go in the Pros. How did it go when you moved into the Pros?
I think I got a second and I think 2 seconds, yeah.
So you definitely deserve to be moving up into the Pros, and it was brilliant to see. And how much sort of preparation did you do before you came? Because I know you started racing from a very young age.
Yeah, we were racing down at Ammering since I was like 4, and then when I was old enough, we moved up to FAB, and then moved up through FAB.
I remember seeing you riding on the small circuit at Wilton Mill, the smaller. The little one they have on the other side.
Yeah, I used to ride that a lot because I preferred it when I was on the Mini, because it was more technical and a lot harder work than the big track.
So is that a better way of starting on something technical like that, rather than say riding on the big track?
Yeah, I would say so, because you got more corners and it helps your fitness when you're going left to right so much.
Now, speaking of fitness, obviously riding the British Talent Cup like we established, what sort of training do you do off the bike to be able to be race fit, and what sort of Shaky getting you doing?
I do a lot of cycling on Zwift with Shaky, and we do a lot of cycling races together.
Has he taught you a lot on that side of things?
Yeah, what to eat while cycling, and how to so bringing your being consistent over the race.
Yeah, of course, and every little detail adds up, and someone like Shane Byrne will know that, and will be coaching you through that. So it's a real tool that you have at your advantage, and you're really fortunate to be able to have advice from someone like Shaky, who's been through and done it all himself. And you can pass that advice onto Ollie as well, into the in the AC40 Rookies. Looking ahead for Ollie, is he looking to do a little bit more, go into AC40 Pros as the year goes on, or even next season?
Yeah, I think he's going to go up through and maybe get to Metro Kits, just like me.
Metro Kits, and maybe one day you'll be riding together in MotoGP.
Yeah,
that would be the dream.
Yeah.
But AC40 Rookies will be coming up very, very shortly. Just one more warm-up session to go on circuit, and we'll be watching the first race of the day for race 2 here at the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. Thank you for joining us, and let us know on social media who you're rooting for, whether it's Ollie O'Gorman, whether it's the pole man in the AC40 Rookies, Matthew Thomas, and a whole bunch of new riders here at FAB-Racing. It is, of course, on Dorna's Road to MotoGP and the official partner series to the Bennett British Superbike Championship, where all riders start off their career, the grassroots to motorcycle racing. And the even Casey O'Gorman started out here with us, and moving up into the British Talent Cup and beyond to do great things. So many riders have been through the fold, the likes of Scott Redding, Danny Kent, so many names have come through here at FAB-Racing, and we had a great day's racing yesterday from the MKGP 70s, the MKGP 50s. All the adult classes supplied us with great racing as well. You can also watch out for three-wheeled action here at FAB-Racing with the sidecars. They'll be coming up a little bit later on in the day, but our focus at the beginning of the day will be on the juniors, the AC40 Rookies and the AC40 Pros. We had good races from them yesterday, of course. They'll be doing 2 races today, only one yesterday. Races 2 and 3 will be going ahead on circuit here at Red Lodge for them to pick up as many points as they can for their championship attacks. Of course, AC40 Rookies, which are coming up next, is now a championship and no longer a cup series. Which championship? It was championship when you came in, Casey, and when you came up through the fields. What races do you particularly remember from your time at FAB-Racing?
There was one at Tattershall where on my mini moto I started from the back of the grid, got to first, crashed, got back up and finished second, I think.
So resilience, just like we saw from Ollie yesterday, crashing out of 7th and getting back on to finish in 10th place. So we can see where he gets it from.
Yeah.
But no, it's brilliant to see riders in the classes with such resilience. And moving up onto the MKGP 50s, the MKGP 70s, what's the most memorable moment there? I suppose winning the championships.
Probably winning loads of races in a row. I remember that quite well.
So what was your win streak? You just kept winning?
Can't remember, but I think it was either 15 or 18, one of them.
Very impressive, very impressive stuff for you in that championship. And we're seeing similar domination from the likes of Clayton Edmonds, Ethan Sparks, and the MKGP 50s and MKGP 70s this year. Of course, Clayton has won every single race so far, and Ethan Sparks has won every race he's finished, only crashing out of the first one back at Lid. He's won everyone since he's got back onto the bike and started finishing the races. So we do see talents just like yourself, Casey, and talents like Ethan Sparks, Clayton Edmonds that come up through and dominate these series, and plenty of riders that are trying to take those wins off them and trying to be rivals to them. Were there any rivals to you when you were coming up and through?
Oh yeah, probably a few. Evan Belford, that was probably the biggest one when I was coming through.
And you're still riding with him now?
Yeah.
So those are rivalries that go on through the classes and through and who knows, maybe one day you'll be rivals in MotoGP together.
Yeah.
But moving now to the AC40 Rookies. They are in the holding area for their first race of the day. They had their race yesterday, which went to Matthew Thomas, his first podium and his first ever win yesterday. He'll be starting from pole position, so it's all down to him to see what he can do and see if he can rack up another win. At the top of the championship, it is Finley Bardell and Oliver Hall. It's between those two, 33 points between them, but they're just struggling to get within the chance of the win this weekend. So it's Finley Bardell at the top of the championship on 144 points, ahead of Oliver Hall with 111. That's a 33-point difference at the moment. But Finley Bardell only coming home in below the top 5 yesterday, so not what he would have wanted, considering he hadn't finished off the podium until he got here. Oliver Hall is going to be looking to rack up some points as well. Zach Penegar having a brilliant weekend, second place on the grid, picking up second place yesterday and coming in
87
on the riders ahead. And it's going to be the number 87 Ollie O'Gorman that you're going to be looking out for.
He's starting P12, I think. Yeah.
So Ollie O'Gorman starting P12 on the grid here for race 2 for the AC40 Rookies. The first race of the day here at Red Lodge, and it's going to be Matthew Thomas, that's going to start on pole position. Zach Pennegar is having a brilliant weekend so far, and he will start the race from second place on the grid. Oliver Hall, your second place man in the championship, he is third on the grid on the number 3. Harley Baker, the number 27, lines up in fourth, ahead of Bethany Ashby and Jensen Bishop on row 3. Bradley Curtis heads row 4 on the number 7 as a rider who's just trying to gets restarted into the race. So Bradley Curtis, 7th place on the grid, ahead of Finley Bardell. Annabelle McCarthy heads row 5 ahead of Chloe Gleason in 10th place. Rex Austin, Ollie O'Gorman, Seth Mason-Howard, Matthew Jennings and Taylor Riley round out your top 15 on this AC40 rookie grid. Number 30, Josh Perkins, he starts in 16th place on the grid ahead of the number 127, Daisy Polden in 17th, Archie Hooper in 18th, Peyton Richards in 19th, and Oliver Wilson rounding out your 20 rider grid here for the second race for the AC40 Rookies. This is the first race of the day here at Red Lodge for the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. This is where young riders start their racing careers on these mini-moto machines, all running the exact same Blatter RM10 engines with 10mm restrictor plates set on those bikes to keep everything as fair as possible and keep all these bikes relatively within the same speeds of each other. These are riders aged 6 to 13 years old, and Ollie O'Gorman, the number 87, of course, brother to Casey. What's he going to be able to do from 12th place?
Hopefully, he's really good at his starts, but hopefully he can get up into the top group and stick with them.
And it looked like it was a good start from Ollie O'Gorman there, but it was an even better start from Zach Pennegar, who takes the lead into turn 1 and already has a little bit of breathing space ahead of Matthew Thomas, the number 128. Very good start from Zach there.
Yeah, he's parked up with him. He's a funny little guy, but yeah, he's fast and funny.
It must be difficult to have reaction times like that when you've got someone like Zach Pennegar getting starts like that. Has there ever been anyone in your career that's just always got blistering starts and you can't keep up with?
No, I think my starts are pretty good.
So that it was you then?
Yeah,
it's always you with
in Estoril on the grid, the bike stalled and I had to start from the back of the grid, and I went from last, which was 38th, to 21st into the first corner.
Right, and that's a perfect example of how to do a race starts, and these young riders need to be looking at things like that, and they will be looking up to the riders like yourself, Casey O'Gorman, and up into all the ranks like European Talent Cup, British Talent Cup, and that's exactly what all these riders are going to be looking to do. As there is a rider gone really wide there out of the final corner, heading down into turn 1 for the second time. The first flying lap for these guys, not on a standing start. And these guys flying through the field, as we can see, battles all the way through. Everything kept pretty cleanly for now, and it's really good to see. And that's a change for the lead as Matthew Thomas, Zach Pennegar goes very wide, and Matthew Thomas just slots it up the inside. Very nice and mature there from Matthew Thomas. Just seemed to lose his outside leg going onto the back straight there. But it looks as if we're going to have a race between these two at the front.
Yeah, it looks like Zach made a little mistake there and let Harley Baker through.
And is that easy to do down at the hairpin there? Because obviously you've ridden the circuit yourself.
Yeah, it's easy to go in really hot into that corner because but then it tightens up on yourself.
Well, these riders will be learning exactly how to make their way around those sorts of corners, as Zach Pennegar has a little bit of a look up the inside of the final corner. Difficult move to make, that one. But it's Zach Pennegar that is in second place. Unfortunately, Matthew Thomas not coming up on the timing screens, but he is leading the race ahead of Zach Pennegar. Harley Baker, the number 27, is in third place, leading Oliver Hall. Oliver Hall with the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. And considering he's in the championship battle with Finley Bardell, he's going to be wanting to fight up the front. Finley Bardell it is that leads the championship. Finley Bardell down in fourth place at the moment, so a little bit better from him today compared to what we saw from him yesterday. So it's exactly what he will be wanting. as we see battles further throughout this field, battles all the way through here. Lots of new names as well. We've got the likes of Harley Baker, a new name, up into third place. Daisy Polden, Rex Austin, of course, those three are all cousins as well. So a good family affair here in the AC40 Rookies. But Zach Pennegar is rolling in second place at the moment, just behind the leader of Matthew Thomas, and that's a rider just cruising there and just coming into the pits. So that's not what the rider will have wanted there. So really unfortunate, and it's very frustrating when you have something like that, Casey.
Yeah, it's happened to me quite a lot this year, breaking down a lot at Valencia.
And what does that feel like? Because obviously it's nothing. It's something that's it's not your fault. It's something you can't help.
Yeah, it's very annoying because I remember one time in 2019 I was on a fast lap on my dash and then I broke down.
Well, it's definitely a frustrating thing, but it's something that all these riders will be having to learn in the first stages of their career, and they'll be learning how to cope with it. Because unfortunately, that it is racing and it does happen. But battles all the way through here as we see these guys just battling it out a little bit further back. So these guys just learning what it's like to be in a race situation and be battling it out with each other. With some of these riders, it's their first ever weekend of racing, and you can tell those riders by a high-vis vest that they have to wear if it's their first ever weekend of riding. But it's also their first year of racing here at FAB-Racing. This is where it all begins as Zach Pennegar takes Matthew Thomas for the lead and sets a pretty good lap on that last lap, close to the fastest lap of the race. But the fastest lap of the race gone to Oliver Hall so far. So Zach Pennegar's taken Matthew Thomas for the lead. Do you think we're going to see a battle for the lead here, Casey?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a good race.
And Zach Pennegar's looking very strong in the number 134. Hasn't won a race yet so far, so it's all down to him to get that monkey off his back and take those 25 points. He's had a few podiums, 3 third places, 2 second places so far, a 4th place as well. Just looking at the number 87, Ollie O'Gorman. Just talk us through how he's riding here, Casey.
He's riding pretty good. He's got his knee down. That's an improvement from the start of this year. He's improved a lot this year. But he looks like he's carrying a lot of corner speed as well.
It's nice to watch from the 87, and of course looking back, and you can see him using all the track there as well.
Yeah, you can also see my dad pushing it, shouting him to go faster.
Is he? Do you get a lot of that from the side of the track, sort of motocross dad style?
Yes, especially from the team in Spain. They're very enthusiastic.
Well, it's always nice to see when you're coming across and they're pushing you on from the sidelines, but it's always funny when they're telling you to go faster, because I mean, if you could go faster, you would be doing it anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But Zach Pennegar is now that leads this race ahead of the number 128 Matthew Thomas. Those two battling it out at the front as we look at Ollie O'Gorman. Ollie in 10th place at the moment in this race. We said he should be sort of looking about top 5. Do you think he'll be happy with top 10?
I don't think he will.
Well, it's still a very good ride. Very competitive grid here this year. He's just behind Chloe Gleason, who's very passionate about her racing, as well as that Zach Pennegar that's gone out. So Zach Pennegar, is that a crash that he's had, or is that
the leaders?
I think that's the leaders. So that's Matthew Thomas and Zach Pennegar, and have they come together? It looks like that might have been it. Can you tell whereabouts in the track that is?
That looks like last corner.
The last corner, so they've come together there. They were battling it out. They were very, very close. You can see Archie O'Brien at the side of the circuit just watching on, and looks distraught for the likes of the leaders. Harley Baker now it is that leads, though, ahead of Oliver Hall. Finley Bardell into 3rd now. That promotes Finley Bardell up into a podium spot. So that is your 1-2 in the championship now up onto the podium. So a little bit of a better weekend it's turning out to be for them. But what a disaster for Zach Pennegar and Matthew Thomas. Both of them hadn't won a race before going into this weekend. Matthew Thomas won yesterday, and Zach wanted to get that monkey off his back and get that first ever win in his racing career. And what's it like, Casey, when you're starting out racing and you get that first ever race win?
It's the best feeling, especially when it's in a really competitive championship. But maybe that crash will fire him up for the next race later on.
And does it feel different to all the other wins once you've got one under your belt? Do all the others not feel quite as incredible as the first?
Not really, unless you do an amazing race.
Well, hopefully all these riders will be enjoying amazing races, and we'll have wins to follow and wins to come. It looks as if it's curtains for Zach Penegar and Matthew Thomas that crashed out of the race. It's Harley Baker, though, that leads on the number 27 machine, just in front of Oliver Hall, and Oliver Hall is 1.1 seconds behind Harley Baker, and with 1 lap to go, it looks as if Harley's going to be comfortable for the win, and Harley has come across the line to take the win. So it's the number 27 Harley Baker that wins ahead of Oliver Hall in second on the number 3 machine, and Finley Bardell in third. Bethany Ashby comes home to finish in fourth on the number 8 machine ahead of Jensen Bishop, Chloe Gleason, Bradley Curtis. Ollie O'Gorman's up to 8th now, so a good result from Ollie.
Yeah, it looked like he was behind 3 people, so not that bad. But that would be put him in the top 5 where he wanted to be.
So that's brilliant from Ollie O'Gorman. That's close to where he wanted to be, and it's good to see all these riders giving themselves targets and knowing where they want to be. But it was Jensen Bishop that rounded out the top 5 on the number 11. Brilliant ride from Jensen. Ollie O'Gorman, like you said, in 8th, Annabelle McCarthy in 9th, Rex Austin in 10th. Taylor Riley in 11th, Seth Mason-Howard in 12th, Josh Perkins in 13th, 14th went to Archie Hooper, and 15th Daisy Polden on the number 127, who is related, of course, to the number 127 who used to ride back in Super Teens and back in the Motorstar class of Georgina Polden, a rider that we used to see at the front of the BSB paddock as well. So it's good to see these names coming back and doing things and things running through the family. Like with yourself, of course, Casey, you've come and done all this, and now Ollie's here as well. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, following in my footsteps.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows? Maybe one day you'll be up in MotoGP together, and that will be the goal. But a brilliant race from the AC40 Rookies